devastating simulations say sea ice will be completely gone in the Arctic summers by 2050. For millions of years, the Arctic has observed an unbroken ritual. In winter, Arctic sea ice expands. At sub-zero, polar temperatures freeze waters in their place. In the summer, the ice pack retreats as warmer temperatures thaw the winter-made gains, surrendering them back to the ocean. In the era of anthropogenic climate change, the ebb and flow of this timeless cycle has become disturbed. For decades, the overall coverage of Arctic sea ice has been in decline, expanding less and retreating more with each year. Nonetheless, the Arctic ice has always remained frozen, covered in sea ice even in the summer, and it may not be for much longer. A new analysis of numerous climate models predicts the Arctic Ocean will become ice-free in the summers in only decades and even before the midpoint of this century, a startling forecast that persists even in the best-case scenarios in which we manage to significantly cut down atmospheric carbon dioxide emissions. If we reduce global emissions rapidly and substantially, and thus keep global warming below 2 degrees Celsius relative to pre-industrial levels, Arctic sea ice will nevertheless likely disappear occasionally in summer, even before the year 2050. This is what polar geophysicist Dirk Noz from the University of Hamburg in Germany says. He says this really surprises us. In the new study, Noz and his team examined dozens of different climate models simulating the evolution of Arctic sea ice in the future. The models, which came from the Coupled Model Intercomparison Project phase, or CMIP6, comprise some of the latest generation of global climate models and encompass a number of different hypothetical scenarios, including trajectories based on rapid reduction of future CO2 emissions, as well as largely unchanged business-as-usual situations. In most of the CMIP6 simulations, the Arctic Ocean becomes practically sea ice free, defined to mean sea ice area covered in an area of less than 1 million square miles in summers before we reach the year 2050, and regardless of the hypothetical scenario employed. The CMIP6 models simulate a large spread from when Arctic sea ice area is predicted to drop below 1 million square kilometers, such that the Arctic Ocean becomes practically sea ice free. This is what the authors wrote in their paper. However, the clear majority of all models of those models that best capture the observed evolution project that the Arctic will become practically sea ice free in September before the year 2050 at future anthropogenic carbon dioxide emissions of less than 1,000 gigatons of CO2 above that of 2019 in all scenarios. While the results are certainly shocking, the overall prediction of a soon-to-be ice-free Arctic is not. Scientists have been forecasting this outcome for years, envisioning the end of the Arctic as we know it, and speculating that this could mean for all kinds of other ecosystems. It's also something that will amplify the global warming effect the world is currently experiencing, scientists say. As with less ice in the Arctic, less sunlight can be reflected in the region, meaning our hotter planet absorbs even more heat as the North Pole increasingly melts away. It's a two-way street, NASA climate scientist Claire Parkinson said, who was not involved in the current study. And they said that this warming means less ice is going to form and more ice is going to melt, but also because there's less ice, less of the sun's incident solar radiation is reflected off, and this contributes to the warming. If there's any good news here, it's that we may still be able to lessen the frequency of these ice-free Arctic summers if we can manage to steeply reduce the carbon dioxide emissions. Models and simulations can predict many things, but the only trajectory that really matters is the path we collectively decide to take. The research findings were reported in Geophysical Research Letters. This is on Science Alert by Peter Dockrell. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events. events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.